Ferrari are finally making the right choices to make their 2024 car really give it that secret recipe for success. They're taking the right development steps. But what am I talking about? We know a little bit about the 676 project, and a recent news article that came out is actually very important for their future development and success to actually compete for a championship. The car is supposed to look more like a Red Bull. Now that is the Aero concept that gives us some idea of the direction they're going in. And they say they have understood every single weakness they have for the car. Before I get more into the video, please subscribe and like. It would mean the world if you're new here. You guys are the best and genuinely support me the most, and thank you so much for that. Let's continue on into the video. So as I was talking about, we have some news on the 676 project, but the recent news that just came out that I really want to get into is Ferrari has relied on Leclerc to direct the development of the 676 project. This is huge. Now, what does this mean though? Why exactly is this big news for Ferrari? Well, when you look at the drivers Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc, even if you love Carlos, you gotta admit that Leclerc is the faster driver by the slightest bit. It's not that much of a gap, but there was one driver when the car was at its most competitive that was competing with Max Verstappen, and that was Charles Leclerc in 2022. The car's been kind of taking up different philosophies since it's been a real car in this ground effect era. In 22, the car was great in medium to high speed corners, but its straight line speed was always kind of lacking to the actual Red Bull car. So they made the compromise in 23 to actually make the car faster in the straights, but give up some of the cornering speed. But what that ended up resulting in is a very uncertain car, not knowing when it's going to be quick or not, and very overall uneven in the spread in when it's good and when it's not. In Canada, it was a great car. In Singapore, it was a great car. Vegas, great car. Obviously, the tires has been a problem. That's something that they're working on. That's more in the suspension, but they actually came to a better understanding of the car towards the end of the year. The tires weren't that much of an issue. Yes, Vegas was extreme, but in Abu Dhabi, where tire wear was usually a problem, he still finished second and was very competitive on pace. So the pure pace of the car has always been there, but with a couple of problems and that inconsistencies, that is where really last year's car, the SF23, has always failed. And specifically talking around that Monza Singapore time, they went with a different setup option. They were like, okay, the car is not that fast, not that consistent with the option that Leclerc likes driving in. Let's try with the understeer style. So the car was pretty competitive. In Monza, it was competitive. In Singapore, it was competitive. And they bring in Japan a upgrade for the floor. Now this floor was meant to actually make the car more predictable going into corners rather than just being really uneven on its balance. So Leclerc went with his style, Sainz went with his style, giving him an option to go with two different styles but still be competitive. Leclerc came out the faster driver. The car is now better in the oversteery style, and this helps Leclerc. So they are pushing that direction for their new upcoming project for the 2024 car. This helps because Leclerc is the quicker driver, but also oversteer on a car is what Max Verstappen is currently driving with. Even back when Michael Schumacher was dominating, he loved oversteer on the car or having a strong front end, which is for better terms, having the car be very strong on the front, but a little bit loose on the rear, giving you more control how you're going to throw it into the corner. The reason why on these new cars that works better is because of the weight of the cars. The cars are pretty heavy, so actually moving the car, getting it into a slow speed or medium speed corner is tough. You have to actually be able to do that off of pure pace alone, which is something Leclerc can extract, and Carlos actually kind of doesn't have that exact attribute to him. He's great, don't get me wrong, Carlos in high speed cornering is very good, but in the slow speed corners, he always loses out Leclerc due to just driving style alone. It's why Max is so good in slow speed and really into the early braking spots, because he's able to shift that car into a position that already kind of lets you be on that straight line. It's the same thing that Leclerc likes. Both of them are very similar. So if you make a car towards more of that anti-dive suspension, which might be what they're going for, they're going to go for a car stronger on the front end, but still fast in the straights. They introduced that little S duct, and the car itself was super fast in the straights, and they say that the actual MGUH is the fastest in the car. It's the Honda engine that has a great ERS system to why they are so good on the straights. But off engine alone, the Ferrari car has been the strongest. So they need to optimize what was good in the SF25 to now put it into, obviously, its SF23 and get that mix. They say they have analyzed and figured out everything they needed to figure out to go into the 2024 car. While they did say it was tough, the inspiration and innovation that they're making for this car obviously will be somewhat Red Bull oriented, but with Ferrari inspiration, which is important because you can't just make the same exact car and then hope for this better results. Obviously the Red Bull is ahead on its concept, so going with your own concept but with a mix of the things that Red Bull is so good at with this downwash concept is the best approach, I think, right now to the Formula car. And that puts Ferrari in a great position because Leclerc is that front-running driver, and he is the faster driver out of the two of them off of pure pace, but also in qualifying. If he's able to extract that pace, giving him a car that's more towards his philosophy will also make him a consistent driver. We know that Leclerc tends to have these moments where he crashes and has been a little off balance with the car, especially in 23 in the beginning of the year. And in 22, he used to have his moments. France is like a very notable one. But overall, the guy is fast. He's outstandingly fast. And he's one of the only drivers in the grid currently that I think can fight with Max when given the car. We saw it in 22. I think in 24, we could see it again with everything Ferrari is talking about. With this not real, I would say, different concept change, but more of a evolution to the car. Just bringing the car from what was good in it, bringing it to this newer concept to fix the issues they had. Ferrari's on the right path, and this is really the secret to their success, which is giving Leclerc the car that he wants, because Leclerc with the right car, to me, is a guy that can fully challenge. That is where the pace comes from in Ferrari, and if you want to have a driver that's really competing for the championship, you gotta go towards the faster one. Even though I love Carlos, Carlos has to adapt a little bit and kind of get onto Leclerc's level to be able to compete. Currently, with the contract rumors that are being talked about, it's being said that Leclerc is literally signing till 2029, which is a pretty ridiculous contract if that is true. And on the other side, it seems like Carlos Sainz is struggling to make a contract for even a year. He kind of wants a year and then he wants to change. So I'm wondering if his mind is shifting to going over to Audi maybe in 26, leading a team there, trying to be the development coach really for that tech development team over there to actually have a car in his suitable way, because he is a very fast driver, but with his teammate like Leclerc, they're so close. They're actually my favorite driver pairing on the grid. Can he actually compete? That is the question. With the new inspiration of a Charles Leclerc 2024 Ferrari car, I think this could be big for them. But I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. With the oversteery car, can Leclerc catch the competition and compete with Verstappen or whoever else up top there? Mercedes, Aston Martin, McLaren. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Please leave a like, subscribe. It would mean the world. And peace.